Good morning, everyone. In today's class, we'll just discuss the uh, magnetic properties and magnetic properties of magnetic material. So we'll just start with the magnetic materials. The magnetic materials are classified into different categories. They are depending upon their effect of temperature and the magnetic field on the magnetic properties. So all the magnetic materials are broadly classified into three important categories, that is diamagnetic material, paramagnetic material, and ferromagnetic material. And again, this ferromagnetic material have been classified depending upon the spin, that is classified into antiferromagnetic material and ferrimagnetic material. Right. So, what is actually the meaning of diamagnetic material? So, here in today's class, we'll just discuss different classifications of the magnetic materials and their properties, right? So, diamagnetic material is nothing but it induced magnetic field will be induced in the direction which is opposite to the external magnetic field. So what is happening here is that you can just see this complete magnetic material classification depends upon the temperature, the effect of temperature. So the effect of temperature is playing an important role in classification of the diamagnetic materials, paramagnetic materials, and ferromagnetic materials, and so on. So, the diamagnetic materials which will be created an induced magnetic field in a direction which is opposite to an external applied magnetic field. So, now they are actually repelled by the applied magnetic field. See, you can just see this particular property by means of the diagram which is shown to you. So, what is happening when you increase the temperature beyond some critical temperature? We say that that is a critical temperature. So if you just see this, you can imagine that how the effect of magnetic field on the uh, magnetic materials, if the temperature is very much greater than the critical temperature. So we just consider that critical temperature. What is happening here is that when the temperature is very much less than the critical temperature, so the applied they will repel the magnetic lines of forces, as you see in the figure 2. So now when you talk about dipoles, you already know dipoles are nothing but in magnetism they are the spins, right? You can just see this. These arrows which have been shown to you. So you will have that particular arrows indicates the spin of the given magnetic material, right? We'll say that is spin, right, which is related to spin quantum number, which you have studied in your lower classes. Now here, in these particular diamagnetic materials, you'll find that there will be permanent dipoles will be present, right? The permanent dipoles will be absent actually. So the permanent dipoles are absent in the diamagnetic material. So what is happening when the temperature is greater than a particular, what we say that is a critical temperature? See, the magnetic lines of force will flow inside the diamagnetic material. When the temperature is lower than the critical temperature, you'll find here that the magnetic lines of force expels out. So we just in the later section will tell you what is this actually, the meaning of the this material, this type of property which is shown by the diamagnetic material, right? So now, so what are the different general properties which will be dealing with the diamagnetic materials? So here the diamagnetic materials are experiencing a very what you can say a repulsing force, which is when you bought a strong magnet, right? So what will happen is that they will experience a repulsive force, right? The magnetic susceptibility, you can say zeta, we just say that magnetic susceptibility zeta of this material will be negative. So what is this magnetic susceptibility actually? So this magnetic susceptibility is nothing but the capability of a given medium or material to resist the magnetic field here. Since it is a magnet, we talk about magnetism, so we just say that is called the magnetic susceptibility. So this magnetic susceptibility will always be equal to minus, right? Negative is always be negative, and the relative permeability that is mu suffix r is always less than r. So when you say relative permeability is nothing but it is a parameter which can give us the measure of the capability of the material to acquire the magnetism. So in the absence of this external magnetic field, what will happen? So what will happen? The net magnetic dipole moment of a given diamagnetic material will be definitely 0. So now this is actually due to the pairing of the electrons. You can just see this example of the diamagnetic materials. You'll find that bismuth, copper, lead, zinc, and etc. Now these are the important properties. This you already learned in your intermediate. See, whatever I'm explaining you, this particular topic, this particular properties are already there in the intermediate. So now again just we are revising it. So what is actually the meaning of paramagnetic material? So the paramagnetic material, you can just see this, what will happen to the magnetic dipoles. You can just see these magnetic dipoles, or you can say magnetic moments which are seen on this schematic diagram. What will happen when the magnetic field is, when you don't find magnetic field, when in the absence of magnetic field, what is the character which is shown by the paramagnetic material? You can see this paramagnetic material exhibit magnetism when the external magnetic field is applied. So when the paramagnetic materials lose the magnetization if the external field is absent. So these materials are very weakly attracted towards the magnetic field. So now we just studied about diamagnetic material. So where you will find that the magnetic field will be induced in the direction which is opposite to the external magnetic field. In the paramagnetic field, you will find that magnetism will be there, but the external magnetic field will be, when you apply the external magnetic field, then only the magnetization process is taking place. You can just see this spin of the magnetic moments when you don't find any magnetic field. Here, in the presence of the magnetic field, definitely they will be in a particular order. So in a sequential order, you'll find most of the magnetic movement will follow a particular direction. So now here, so this is a schematic view of the presence of the external magnetic field when it is applied to the paramagnetic field. Now, so what is the different properties of these paramagnetic materials? You find that the paramagnetic materials experience a very small attractive force when brought near to the pole of the magnet, and these materials are possessing permanent dipole moments. The diamagnetic materials also possessing permanent dipole moments which arise due to some unpaired electrons, right? Wherever you find magnetism, right? So in the perpendicular direction you find the electricity, and definitely that is the reason that we say that there will be an electrons presence, right, wherever you find the magnetic field. So here the magnetic susceptibility is very small and it will be positive. You find that the susceptibility value is small when compared to the what you can say ferromagnetic material, and when you can just see this magnetic susceptibility when we compare with the diamagnetic material. So it is very small, and the for diamagnetic material we just gone through the diamagnetic material, and we found that the magnetic susceptibility is small but it will be negative. So now the magnetic paramagnetic materials, what are the paramagnetic materials example? Platinum, aluminum, copper, sulfate, and so on. These are a few examples, right, which will be used for the industrial purpose and for manufacturing purpose also. So in our daily life we'll see this type of paramagnetic materials for various applications, right? So now what is actually the meaning of ferromagnetic material? So in this particular phenomena, we say that the material gets magnetized to very large extent in the presence of external field. So you can find that you can see this ferromagnetic material when we compared all the three diagrams. You can just, I will just show you the previous diagrams. So here when we see a diamagnetic material, so the here you will find that the permanent dipoles are absent in diamagnetic material. So when we and see the diagram, right? So at temperature greater than the critical temperature, the magnetic, there will be a flow of magnetic field lines as shown in the with the arrow marks. So when the temperature is very much less than the critical temperature, you find that the magnetic lines of forces are expelling out, right? Now and we gone through for the different properties of the diamagnetic material, and also we have seen the example schematic diagram of paramagnetic material, where you can just see this the random arrangement of the magnetic what you can say spin of the material. So here when you apply the magnetic field, how this particular dipoles are exhibiting a different character, which is shown by the schematic diagram. Now when we go for the ferromagnetic material as well, so what we will find that the ferromagnetic material, the material is getting magnetized to a very large extent in the presence of the external field. So now the direction in which the material is magnetizing is actually same as the direction of the external applied field. Now this is the case for the ferromagnetic material. So mostly this type of materials are exhibiting these properties. So ferromagnetic material experience a very strong attractive force when they are brought very near to the pole of a given magnet, and permeability value is very much greater when compared with the permeability value of the dia and the paramagnetic material. The susceptibility is positive and it is very high, and the examples of such ferromagnetic materials are nothing but iron, copper, nickel, manganese and arsenic. So now these are the few examples of the ferromagnetic material, and this the same thing what you studied in your intermediate. So there is a special property of the ferromagnetic material where you can just see that there is a variation when you take a susceptibility, right, on the y-axis and the temperature. So the susceptibility value, how the susceptibility of the given material is changing with respect to the temperature, we can just see the variation of susceptibility with temperature in a ferromagnetic material. You can just see this, there is a dotted line which shows that if the permeability value is very large, so and if the permeability value is somewhat extending, right, so to this dotted line you will find that there will be the same material will be exhibited by a property that is called paramagnetic region. This is called paramagnetic region. So where if you just cross this particular material is at a particular temperature, the same material is exhibiting the paramagnetic property, and when you consider the left hand side, so when the temperature is very much less than the critical temperature, then the susceptibility value is very large, and such material, same material will exhibit the ferromagnetic property. Now the relation between this susceptibility and also the temperature is mathematically given by zeta is equal to C by T minus theta, right. So here C is a Curie constant, T is absolute temperature, and you find that zeta is the susceptibility value. So here theta is separating the region for the same material is a boundary line or which is the interface between the ferromagnetic region and the paramagnetic region. So variation of this susceptibility with the temperature in a ferromagnetic material, right. So now, so these again this ferromagnetic material depend upon their spin. They have been classified into two important categories, that is antiferro. First we'll deal with the antiferromagnetic materials. It is referred to as the phenomena in which the magnetic interaction between any two dipoles are aligning themselves, which is anti-parallel. You can just see we have shown you with the different what you can say color. You find that there is a what you can say a blue color. This arrow, or this is nothing but a spin, which magnetic spin, which is shown to the upward in the upward direction, and you find that there is an arrow here which is green in color, which is shown in the downward direction, and this particular two combination of these two arrows we just refer to be as they are anti-parallel to each other. So since all the dipoles are having very equal magnitude, the net magnetization of this particular material will be 0. Why? Because these you already studied that when you consider a spin, right, when you just consider a spin of the electron, so if the arrow is in the upward direction, we just say that is plus half. When the arrow is in the downward direction, we just say that is the minus half, and the plus half and minus half will that is they are equal and opposite in sign. So definitely this particular aspect, with this particular aspect we can say that the net magnetization is 0. So now, so this is about the antiferro. So different properties which has been shown by this antiferromagnetic material. So like the ferromagnetic materials, the antiferromagnetic materials also possess dipole moment due to the spin of the electron, and the um opposite alignment of these adjacent dipoles due to an exchange interaction, you will find that there will be opposite alignment of the dipoles, and that is actually due to the exchange of the interaction which is taking place between the two what concern dipole. The susceptibility is very small and is positive when compared. We are just comparing this particular antiferromagnetic materials with respect to the ferromagnetic material. That is the reason that we say that the susceptibility is very small, and definitely it will be positive, right? Now, so you can just see this antiferromagnetic material. Why, at what particular temperature you will find that the material is exhibited by the antiferromagnetic magnetism. So you just we have shown with the schematic diagram to you. So here you say that when on the x-axis, just now we just discussed a schematic view of the what you can say the variation of susceptibility with respect to the temperature for the ferromagnetic material. In the same way, we are just varying this susceptibility with respect to the temperature for the antiferromagnetic material. You can just see this particular aspect here. This is showing the paramagnetic property. Here the susceptibility is increasing with respect to the temperature. Eta is equal to C by T plus theta. So here T is the absolute temperature and C is the Curie constant, or a plus sign indicates that this will be the variation of with respect to the ferromagnetic magnetism and the antiferromagnetic material. In the ferromagnetic material, you will find that zeta is equal to C by T minus T theta, and here you will find that the susceptibility value zeta is equal to C by T plus theta. So where this plus theta indicates that this is actually the what you can say the uh, the same ferromagnetic material, right, is varied with plus and minus with respect to theta. So this is zeta is equal to C by T plus theta. This is a mathematical indication of the relation of susceptibility with respect to the temperature in the case of antiferromagnetic material, right. So now, so what is actually the ferrimagnetic material? Again, this ferrimagnetic material, you find this is the phenomena in which the magnetic interaction between the two dipoles align anti-parallel to each other. Since the magnitude of dipoles are not exactly equal, the magnetic moments become you can find that the spin of these magnetic moments are not equal to each other, or we say that the there will be a cancellation of magnetic moments will be incomplete when compared with the what you can the spin of magnetic moments of the antiferromagnetic material. So where there will be definitely the net magnetization is 0. Here the net magnetization is finite, right? It is not exactly 0. Now this is the general property, right? Ferrimagnetic material is possessing the magnetic dipoles movement due to the spin of the electron. Definitely depends upon the magnetic dipoles as related to the spin of the electron. So the ferrimagnetic material is composed of more state of different transition element. The susceptibility value of this ferrimagnetic material is very large and positive. So this is when compared with the antiferromagnetic material, the susceptibility is quite large, and it is also positive. So examples of this particular ferrimagnetic materials are nothing but nickel, ferrite, and the ferrous ferrite, and so on. You find numerous number of examples for the ferrimagnetic material. So these are the important properties, right? How the magnetic materials have been classified depending upon the important properties of the material, and some important parameters that we need to understand here is that the susceptibility and the permeability. So temperature, relation between this susceptibility and temperature plays very vital role in understanding the properties of the magnetic material. So now you can just see this, we just discussed about this, and now when you see this ferrimagnetic material schematically, the variation of the susceptibility with respect to the temperature, you will find that the relationship, how this relationship, see dotted line again, you can just say T suffix n, when you just take a x-axis the absolute temperature, and y-axis you just take a susceptibility value. So you'll find that the relation between the susceptibility and the temperature is related by zeta is equal to C by capital T plus or minus theta. This is the variation of susceptibility with respect to the temperature in the case of ferrimagnetic material. Now this is what the semantically how depending upon the spin of the magnetic moments, the ferromagnetic material is again classified into two different categories, that is antiferromagnetic material and ferrimagnetic material. So now there is an overview, right? You can just see this for you, right? You can just make the tabular form. With this you can easily understand the variation of different type of magnetism and how the susceptibility and what is the behavior in the case of in the atomic level, and atomic level how the magnetic property is varying with respect to the material which is considered to be either it may be dia, para, ferro, antiferro and ferri, and what are the different susceptibility values of the given materials which are exhibiting this type of magnetic properties. You can just see this first in the first we can just see here. Now the type of magnetism that we are considering here is diamagnetic magnetism, and this susceptibility value is very small and negative, and you don't find any magnetic movement. That is the reason that we say that in the starting case we just consider that you don't find permanent dipole movements, magnetic movements. That is the reason that we say that atoms have no magnetic movement, which has been shown. You can just see there is no magnetic movement is possible here in the diamagnetism, and the example of such material which is exhibiting such property, diamagnetic property, just now we discussed, that is copper, right? One of the example is copper. Now paramagnetism, you find that the susceptibility value is very small and it is be positive, and here you can just see that we are just showing with respect to the dipoles. See the atoms with respect to the magnetic when you talk about a magnetic property, definitely spin will come into picture. That is the reason that we just resembling our movement of the atoms with the spin, magnetic spins. Now the atoms have randomly oriented, you can just see that how the atoms are randomly oriented with respect to the spin, right? Instead of drawing the circular sphere spherical atom, just shown, that has been shown with the particular arrow mark that indicates that the magnetic movement spin. You can see that that is platinum, aluminum, and you find that manganese is also come under the category of paramagnetism, right? And the susceptibility value, you can just see the susceptibility value. So ferromagnetic material, you find that ferromagnetic material, the susceptibility value is very large and positive. So and you will find that the applied field, when the external field, the magnetism property will existed in the direction of the applied field, and you find that how the magnetic movements are aligned, how the atoms have been aligned, right? You can just see this. There is a case for the iron example. We just taken the example of the iron. Now we just say that's anti-ferromagnetic movement, so the susceptibility value is very small, and you find that there is a mixed response or mixed characteristic of the spin, magnetic spin. When you just see the figure, you can understand how the variation of the spin result in the special category of the ferromagnetic material that is considered to be anti-ferromagnetism, and the example is given as chromium, and the value of that is given by 3.6 in 10 power of minus 6. That is a susceptibility value. The last one that we just come across is ferrimagnetism. So it is very large and positive, and the function of this you can just see this how this susceptibility is varying with respect to the temperature. We have just seen that eta is equal to C by T plus or minus theta. The atoms have antiparallel line magnetic. You can see again when you see this spin, you can understand. So that is the reason that that particular materials have been classified into this particular category. Now ferrite, barium ferrite as in one example, and the see minus 3 is the value of susceptibility of this barium ferrite, and you find this type of properties, and you can easily, now you can just easily very classify the given material, how you can know the difference between the different magnetic material, right? Now so what we can say with this is that we just started with only the important properties of the what you can say the diamagnetic material. We just started with diamagnetic material. We started with the classification of magnetic material first of all, and then the classification of the materials with respect to different categories, which is based on the magnetic parameters, the how these magnetic materials are influenced by the temperature and the external magnetic field, and depending upon that particular value, so we are just classify this particular materials into different categories, right. So now, so we with this what we can do is that we can just overview will show you the again see diamagnetic material, find this particular value of the magnetic lines of force at different temperature, see. So different properties of again diamagnetic material, bismuth and copper are the examples of diamagnetic material. Again we gone for paramagnetic material, and this is the how the spin look like in the paramagnetic material. Platinum and aluminum are one of the example of paramagnetic material. And find that ferromagnetic material, the spin schematic diagram of the spin has been given, and the example is iron, copper, nickel, and so on. So now and then again this ferromagnetic material schematic diagram, which shows you the relationship between the susceptibility and the absolute temperature. Now antiferromagnetic material, you can just see this how the spins have been is shown in the schematic diagram, where you find that the net magnetization will be 0, right. So there are some general properties of the antiferromagnetic material. You will find that susceptibility value is very small and positive. So we have shown this with the schematic diagram, which is showing the relationship between the graphical relationship between the susceptibility and the temperature for antiferromagnetic material. Zeta is equal to C by T plus theta, right. So later on, the later section, we just gone for the ferrimagnetic material, where you can just see this ferrimagnetism is a phenomenon in which the magnetic interaction is taking place with respect to the antiparallel, which are antiparallel to each other. So now you can see these are the different properties of the ferrimagnetic material. Examples of these properties of ferrimagnetic materials are nickel, ferrite, and so on. So this is a schematic view of the ferrimagnetic material, right. So now, so this we just studied the in a tabular form, whatever in the slides just now we gone for. So that particular has slides have been put it in a single slide in a tabular form, and we have shown you how the atomic level, at the atomic level, how this magnetism is affecting the material. So we just gone for diamagnetism, copper. So how the atoms are there in the inside the copper. For paramagnetism, platinum is there. So how this spin, magnetic spin, magnetic movements are randomly oriented in the case of the platinum. So in the ferromagnetism, iron, we'll just take the example of iron, how the spin is varying, right. They are exactly in the direction of the external magnetic field. And for antiferro, how the spin is varying when compared with the ferromagnetic material and the ferrimagnetic material. So with this, we'll just what we'll do is that we just have an introductory class of this unit 4, wherein you just studied about the introduction of the materials based upon their temperature. So how these materials have been classified, magnetic materials have been classified, which are based on the temperature. With this, we'll just I will take for this today's class. We'll just end today's class. Okay. So right, we'll meet again in the next class. Thank you, everyone. All right. Now, next class we'll just discuss about the what you can say the in detail. We just discuss about the ferromagnetic material. It is shown a special property. Ferromagnetic material is showing a special property. That particular uh, that property will be explained you, and how this special property is applied, right, in the daily life, and what are the different applications of this material. See, just now we just studied about the different materials, and to an engineering student, how these materials will by means of this material, what is the help an engineering student will get in the industrial and the what you can say manufacturing level, and also a layman, how these materials will be utilized by a layman for his luxurious life or in daily life also he'll use, but he don't know this particular material he is using, right? So here an engineering student should have a concept of the magnetic materials such that if you understand the what you can say different classification of the magnetic materials and how this classification of magnetic materials will help you in what you can say uh, in understanding your core subject that will be in your second year. So before that you need to understand some important what you can say parameters which will definitely help you in understanding to a broader aspect, right? So with this I'll just take a leave for today's class. In tomorrow's class we'll just discuss the next topic, that is called hysteresis, and how these magnetic materials have been classified into hard and soft magnetic materials and so on, right? Thank you everyone.